Hello everyone, you're here with Lawrence again. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be speaking about how to motivate others. And it's something that I'm so passionate about because I believe that if we can pull the right strings and motivate people, we can bring out the best in them, which is something that I stand for. So there's a couple of ideas I have based on some of the motivational speaking training I've gotten from friends. I've been in the Toastmasters world, which is a speaking academy, for a couple of years, and I've learned so much. So I'm not giving you anything new, I'm just reinventing what everybody's told me and packaging it in a way that maybe it's helpful to you. So the first thing around inspirational speaking or motivational speaking is telling stories. People can relate with stories, and it goes back to when we still lived in the savannah and the caves. That storytelling was a way we passed on wisdom from one generation to the next. Storytelling is by far the most empowering and powerful way that you can bring across a message. Second tip to add to that storytelling is tell personal stories. You'll probably see on my channel I talk a lot about it's okay to make mistakes. That's one of my speeches, and I tell about the three biggest mistakes I've made. The one where while working for a company, I kissed the client's daughter, the CEO of a big bank in South Africa, and I kissed his daughter in front of everybody, in front of the chairman, the executive, and I didn't get fired. And the message of that story was that it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from it. And I got such great reviews from that because I used a personal story, it was authentic, and it showed other people that, because often you'll see this motivational speakers, they'll stand on the ivory tower and they'll tell you what to do, and it's impossible to relate with them. But if you show that you're human, you make mistakes, this is the story and this is how you dealt with it, people can connect with you a little bit easier. The third thing to look out for is every story you tell needs to make a point. If you're telling a story about your cat and then you go back to a story about your mom and then you go to a story about the car and none of it relates to your message, you're just confusing your audience. And they're thinking, but where are you going with the cat and with this and that? Why is it not making any sense? So every story you tell, try and make it personal and then make sure that you know what the message is of that story. So for example, the story of me kissing the client's daughter in front of everybody was that it's okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them. And that was the message or the point that I was making towards that story. The next thing, and in my opinion the most important thing, is that you've got to be authentically positive and passionate about what you're speaking about. No one likes to listen to somebody who's speaking about, their dream to change the world. But if you're talking about changing the world and you really believe that within you and in the team and with your ability to bring something new to the space, you can change the world, maybe that sparks a little bit more motivation and energy within you. So I think you've got to be really passionate. You've got to believe in what you're talking about. You've got to be excited. You've got to have that passion about what you're talking about for other people to absorb that passion. One of the most beautiful sayings that I've ever heard around motivational speaking was that motivational speaking is the transfer of enthusiasm. That somebody who's enthusiastic can motivate somebody else by transferring that enthusiasm through a motivational talk. I love that. And then the last thing is try and prepare as much as you can to motivate people. As much as I believe that you've got to be natural and authentic as a leader and as a motivator, we're not born with those skills. I know for me, I've done probably about 150 motivational talks, and I find like I'm finding my momentum and my rhythm now. But those 150 first ones, I had to prepare. I really had to find my energy, find my persona, find my storytelling ability, make sure that I was comfortable in front of an audience, and I had to prepare hours and hours and hours. It's not something that just comes naturally. I hope now that it does come quite naturally and I get to speak without too much preparation. But when you're starting out, and as a leader, if you really want to motivate your audience, you're going to have to prepare your speech. So in summary, motivational speaking is a transfer of enthusiasm. You've got to have that excitement, that passion, and I'm sure that if you're contemplating motivational speaking, you've got something within you that you want to share passionately, that you're excited about. So I'm excited for you to take this forward. So some of the steps is really telling stories, trying to personalize it because that helps people relate with you. Storytelling is a great way to bring across a concept. We've used it for generations, but it also helps people relate with you. And don't be scared to talk about your failures, your mistakes. I probably talk more about my failures and mistakes than ever my successes, because that is really what gets me to engage with my audience. Every story you tell, got to have a point. And that point has to relate to your overarching message. So if your message is around never give up, tell 3 stories that talk about how you never gave up, how your friend never gave up, how your mom never gave up, and how that all relates to why you should never give up. You know what I mean? Otherwise, if you're talking about never give up is your broader message, and you're talking about, friends are important and you need to have a good social network and never give up, people are going to be confused. So, second, lastly, have that passion. Have that authentic drive and that energy that comes from being passionate about a topic, and let that just shine through. And lastly, prepare, and know you're probably gonna make a few mistakes. You might not motivate and get people to do exactly what you want. I've been there for about 150 speeches. I was unable to get anybody to move, but slowly, surely you start to learn, you start to grow, and you start to improve, and you start to make more and more of a difference. I hope that you found value in this session today, and I look forward to seeing you change the game. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found some value in what I said. If you want to further your self-awareness and self-development and go on this journey with me, there are 4 things you can do. The first one is subscribe to my channel. The second one is go check out my Facebook or Twitter accounts. I do daily posts, maybe that can inspire you. You can go and check out my book on Amazon, Changing the Game, 10 Perspectives to Taking Charge of Your Life. And lastly, go check out my website, www.lawrencebull.com, to go and see my newsletter, other posts, and other things that might be of interest. Hope to see you soon.